afternoon. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, Interior Secretary Jonvic Remulla leads the official closure of a Pogo Hub operating at a property formerly owned by his family. Embattled state insurer PhilHealth assures its members of continued benefits despite receiving no government subsidy for next year. Philippine officials now in Indonesia to fetch convicted OFW Mary Jane Veloso and bring her back home. In the U.S., Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson making history again as she becomes the first justice to perform on Broadway. And OPM legends the Eraserheads makes a surprise appearance at UP's bonfire event to celebrate the university's successful UAAP run. Thanks for joining us. Government officials formally closed down the country's largest Pogo Hub. Francis Falve joins us on the line for details. Francis, go ahead.
Yes, my government agencies led by the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, the DILG, DOJ, Bureau of Immigration, the PNP, and the local government of Cavite inspect the largest Pogo Hub in the country here at Island Cove in Kawit, Cavite. The area spans more than 32 hectares with 58 buildings where more than 30 serve as dormitories. Like in other Pogo Hubs, there were facilities here like a salon, coffee shop, hospital, barbershops for Pogo workers. According to the outgoing general manager of First Orient, since they acquired the property from the Remullas in 2017, they started constructing buildings and developing the area for their Pogo operations, which started in 2019. He also said that they don't have a plan yet what to do with the property. The PNP also promised they will help in totally eradicating local illegal Pogo operations by the president's deadline by the end of the year. Mai?
So, Francis, were these Pogo firms legal?
Yes, Mai. According to Pagcor, when we talk with them this morning, the Pogo Hub here got legal papers, but their license was canceled after the order of the president and banning all Pogo operations in the country. Mai?
Right. Thank you for that report, Francis Falve. Embattled state insurer PhilHealth assures its members of continued health benefits. That's despite Congress's decision to not give government subsidies to the agency for next year, citing its reserve funds. PhilHealth President and CEO Emmanuel Ledesma says as of October, they have reserves amounting to 281 billion pesos and surplus funds of 150 billion pesos.
The decision of the Bicameral Conference Committee reflects its wisdom. The BICAM understands PhilHealth's capacity to continue managing the National Health Insurance Program given its surplus funds. Our financial position is strong and sufficient to sustain our operations. Rest assured, all PhilHealth benefits will continue to be paid and will even improve.
Former Senate President Franklin Drilon believes the Ayuda sa Kapos ang Kita program or AKAP may be used for political gain, specifically to boost the chances of candidates in the 2025 elections. The Bicameral Conference Committee had approved 26 billion pesos to fund AKAP in 2025, but some lawmakers, including the president's own sister, Senator Amy Marcos, had criticized the program. They say it reeks of pork barrel and duplicates other programs of the government.
Sa akin, yan po ay parang kitty na pinamunmunpun sa mga mahihirap daw. Ngunit hindi po maiwasan na ito'y magagamit sa politika, lalo na po na may halalan sa susunod na taon. Ito po'y talagang pwedeng gamitin sa susunod na taon para sa pamumulitika ng mga kandidato.
The Social Welfare Department, however, says the program is being run by them and politicians will not have a hand in the funds distribution. Philippine officials now in Indonesia for the turnover of convicted OFW Mary Jane Veloso. Heading the delegation, or the so-called Oplan Sundonisha, is Corrections Bureau Chief Gregorio Catapang. Veloso is expected to be back here in Manila tomorrow, December 18. The Bucor says she will undergo a 5-day quarantine at the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City. After that, her immediate family will be allowed to visit her in time for Christmas. Veloso was sentenced to death for drug trafficking in 2010, but her execution was suspended at the last minute following the arrest of her recruiters who allegedly hid the drugs in her luggage. Syria's Bashar al-Assad speaks for the first time since being toppled from power. In a statement published on Telegram, Assad said his departure to Russia was not planned. He also claims he left the base in Syria when it came under drone attacks. Syrian rebels seized Damascus on December 8 in a lightning advance that sent Assad fleeing to Moscow, ending more than 50 years of dictatorship. Another school shooting rocks the U.S. A teenage student opened fire at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, killing a teacher and another student. Police said the suspect was also found dead at the scene. At least 6 more were injured, 2 of them critically. An investigation is underway.
At this time, we're still working on a motive, trying to determine why this happened. We know that there is some information that may be circulating about the shooter. I cannot, at this time, formally tell you the age or gender or name of the shooter. We do not want to compromise any part of the investigation.
For Monday's shooting, there had been at least 81 school shootings in the U.S. this year. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump again pressing Hamas to release hostages immediately. Trump said he had a very good talk with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussing the future of the U.S.-Israel alliance when he takes office in January. Hamas abducted more than 250 civilians during the October 7 attack on Israel. 100 of them are still being held in Gaza, but about half are believed to have died in captivity.
As you know, I gave warning that if these hostages aren't back home by that date, all hell's going to break out, and very strong. But we generally just discussed, I asked him, where are things? Mike Waltz they're doing a great job, by the way. Everybody is very happy. I think he's doing a fantastic job. But he was very much involved in the call. But it was a recap call more than anything else.
U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson makes history yet again. Aside from being the first black female Supreme Court justice, Jackson just became the first justice to ever appear on Broadway for the musical And Juliet. Her character, Queen Mab, was based on the fairy from Romeo and Juliet. She was featured in 3 scenes, which included a performance of Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, a hit song by the Backstreet Boys. It was met with a standing ovation, leading to an exclusive post-show interview with Gayle King. We are taking a break. Still to come, Japanese firm SoftBank investing $100 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. Stay with us.
This is the proof to show that it's really a myth that if you're using an electric, you can get electrocuted when using it on floods. So even I myself, I experienced a lot of typhoons, but I still managed to see you and report before you right now, no? And that in terms of the batteries, more and more technologies are being set forth. In fact, the characteristics of batteries are more cheaper and that they're more available. Typical, aside from the lithium ion, there were some solid state batteries and there are some LFCs that is being developed right now in the market. So there are a lot of alternatives, and want to lower down the cost of the units is maybe in this particular type of the cost of the batteries that could help ignite and lowering down the cost.
Beauty, health, adventure. This is for you. Join Marie Lozano where she uncovers the untold stories and unexpected surprises in the world of lifestyle.
We wanted to create a space where we could dive into these topics not just by talking to experts, but experiencing the topics firsthand. Let me tell you about the Lifestyle Lab.
On BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Good morning, I'm Mai Rodriguez, and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world.
Stay ahead of the curve with the latest on financial dynamics.
The Philippines' trade deficit hits its highest level in over 2 years. The Philippine stock market continues to plummet. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority is on track.
Join us as we delve into the evolving economic landscape. Mikey Oreta, Basis Points, 9:30 a.m. Only on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
You're back on Newsfeed at noon. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or Peza, exceeds its full-year investment target earlier than expected. Sujin Kim with the details.
The Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or Peza, is poised to gain an additional 13 billion pesos in investments during its board meeting, breaching a total 215 billion pesos. As of November, Peza surpassed its 2024 investment approval target of 200 billion pesos, reflecting a 15% increase compared to the same period last year.
Towards October, we were still negative, but suddenly November, we were able to breach already our year-end target of 200 billion.
Despite not being a financial institution, as a service agency investment organization, Peza contributed 1.36 billion pesos in dividends to the national government this year.
2024 is the highest by far in the past 4 years since 2021. So we're not getting any support from government nor any budget from GAA, and yet we belong to one of the billionaires club in government that contributes $1 billion plus to the national coffers.
Manufacturing accounted for 21.5% of investment growth, while foreign direct investments in eco-zones represent over 50% of total pledges.
We're seeing increasing confidence by foreign investors. We're inching up from, we were the laggard 6 among ASEAN 6 for many years until last year or this year, 2024, latest is we are inching up to number 4.
Notable investors include Samsung, Tayo Yuden, and Sun Power. South Korea, China, and Russia are emerging as key investment sources alongside traditional partners like the US and Japan. Traditional winners under Peza, such as electronics manufacturing and IT services, continue to drive strong growth. However, the agency is now setting its sights on new growth areas, particularly in IC design and electric vehicles. For 2025, Peza projects an investment growth of 9 to 10%, targeting 235 to 250 billion pesos in investments. Sujin Kim, BNC.
The Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, or Pagcor, enters into a 25-year lease agreement with SMC Infrastructure for the 15-hectare Nayong Pilipino property. The subsidiary of Bilyonaryo Ramon Ang's San Miguel Corporation will build a new corporate office building for Pagcor. The project is valued at 2.45 billion pesos. Pagcor Chairman and CEO Alejandro Tenco says the new headquarters will provide a world-class working environment for employees. He adds the lease agreement will generate rental income for the 13-hectare portion of the property. Maya Chairman Al Panlilio will replace Rene Almendras as the next president of the Management Association of the Philippines. Emmanuel Bonoan was supposed to assume the position, but he withdrew, citing personal reasons. A prominent figure in the telecommunications and fintech industries, Panlilio joins a team of seasoned professionals who will help guide MAP's mission of shaping business policy and fostering leadership in the Philippines. Mike Toledo of Metro Pacific Investments is still MAP Vice President, while SGV's Wilson Tan is Secretary. Overseas, SoftBank is investing $100 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. That pledge, announced by President-elect Donald Trump and the bank CEO Masayoshi Son after a meeting Monday. Trump says the investment will create 100,000 jobs focused on artificial intelligence and related infrastructure. He also praised Son, calling him one of the most accomplished business leaders of our time.
This historic investment is a monumental demonstration of confidence in America's future, and it will help ensure that artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, and other industries of tomorrow are built, created, and grown right here in the USA. One of the beautiful things about Masa is he's very much involved with emerging technology, probably knows it maybe better than almost anybody.
I would really like to celebrate the great victory of President Trump. And my confidence level to the economy of the United States has tremendously increased with his victory. So because of that, I'm now excited to commit this $100 billion and 100,000 jobs into the United States. This is double of last time, as President Trump said.
Bitcoin soaring to new heights. Its record rally topped $107,000 after Donald Trump reiterated his plans to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve similar to America's strategic oil reserve. Bitcoin has surged to record levels since Trump won back the presidency last month, sparking hopes of a crypto-friendly administration.
This is a new golden age for Bitcoin. And I think when you look at what's happening in the Beltway under Trump, you're going to have a deregulatory environment, which is a huge positive. And also, this is part of a risk-on environment that we're seeing not just for tech stocks, but for Bitcoin, still in the early days of playing out.
We're taking another breather. Up ahead, legendary OPM band, the Eraserheads, makes a surprise appearance at UP's bonfire celebration. Keep it here on Newsfeed at noon.
I got into knitwear because when I was already at SM, I was looking through the profile of a lot of the suppliers.
Yes.
And I realized that knitwear was very interesting because it started with a yarn, and then you could actually weave your own material. You could weave the pattern, the texture that you want, choose the right colors that you want also. So that makes you create from the beginning, I mean like from source, which is the yarn, instead of buying a fabric that's already printed or it has its stripes and texture. So that for me was a very interesting challenge.
It was alluring.
Right, and I think it's also because I love craft. So people into craft are usually they love to innovate and create their own thingy.
Oh my goodness!
I've done it
At BNC, 12 noon doesn't mean break. But
Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, staunch Duterte ally Salvador Panelo believes Vice President Sara Duterte will be impeached. United Nations hailing the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah. Australia officially banning children under 16 from social media. And those are the news this hour. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. You're back on Newsfeed at noon. In sports, a grand Champions Night for the University of the Philippines. State U rolled out a bonfire to celebrate not just one, but three of its teams that reigned this UAAP season. Apart from the men's basketball team, UP's men's athletic and women's badminton squads also brought glory to Diliman, making Monday's celebrations more epic. A surprise performance from OPM legends and UP's very own, the Eraserheads. The country's Fab Four also performed during the opening ceremonies of Season 87 back in September, where UP is also the host school. In entertainment news, Part 2, No More, as Universal Pictures changes the title of the upcoming sequel to its current musical hit, Wicked. The film will now be called Wicked for Good, to be released on November 21st, 2025, and chronicles the second act of the beloved Broadway show. Wicked Part 1, which stars Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, hit the big screen last month. It's now the highest grossing Broadway adaptation and has gained major buzz this award season. The first official look at James Gunn's Superman is here. Gunn took to Instagram to share the moving poster, which features the newest Clark Kent, David Corenswet. The trailer is coming out later this week. The film, which will be released on July 11th, is the first feature-length entry in Gunn and Peter Safran's new DC slate called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. It kicked off earlier this month with the animated series Creature Commandos. And before we go, a mall in Pasay takes Christmas lights to the next level with a one-of-a-kind, imagination-themed display. Agatha Gregorio takes us to SM Mall of Asia's Night of Lights.
A sparkle and a flicker greet you everywhere you look at this mall in Pasay's holiday season lights display. SM Mall of Asia opened its Night of Lights this 2024 with a variety of magical zones, such as this vibrant cosmic labyrinth and this Instagram-worthy majestic butterfly section. This is not the first time SM Supermalls has put up a Night of Lights, but they do say this year's display is particularly special.
We decided to take on the theme of everything that has to do with dreams and the beauty of the imagination. This year, we wanted to play around with lights and music and how ethereal things can get.
To be able to visit, mall goers need a single receipt purchase worth at least 2,000 pesos from any MOA store.
We have around an average of about 800 people on a weekday and then about 1,500 people on a weekend per day that come visit us here.
The Night of Lights can be seen at MOA Sky, which has a lot more to offer once completed. SM Supermall says this will have a football field, open-air amphitheater, and a MOA sanctuary soon. But for the merriest season, the mall has other special events and attractions prepared. A fireworks show happens every Saturday and Sunday, while a weekend market is set right beside the 60-foot Christmas tree. Agatha Gregorio, BNC.
And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. 8 days to go before Christmas Day. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.